So, who here is ready for some killer gaming coming on by for the Laurie block? That's right, we got not one, but two phenomenal games here, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our next runner. She will blow your socks off. The best Banui out there, LaurieDBunnykins!
Hello!
Hello!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the video games I play them.
I like video games. Yeah.
I actually had not heard of them until rather recently. But let's not worry about that. Today I'm going to be playing Momodora, Reverie under the Moonlight, which is pretty. The name is very pretty. But the game is also very pretty. This game has a lot to kind of explain, and I'm very good at talking while doing, so I think it's only fair I jump right in and do the best I can.
Excellent.
So I'll get going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
So, quick lore rundown. I'm playing as Kaho. She is a priestess from a far-off village. There's this curse in a giant city that is affecting her village. So we're on a quest to stop it, because generally curses are bad. Immediately, I'm gonna start rolling. We're rolling. I'm also jump rolling, which is a frame-perfect trick. I have to press jump and roll on the same frame, and it lets me do both. It's not actually good for getting, like, the maximum height out of a jump, but it allows me to gain height while moving forward at the fastest possible speed, which is a net positive. This game also, very early, I make use of the 2 attack buttons I have. The ranged attack bow, which I can use for that one puzzle, and you're going to see seeing a lot of it, and the melee attack, which I'm using here to hit a few imps, but also you see me on a lot of my jump rolls, I'll, like, use it to kind of cancel part of my roll. And that just, like, saves time if you need to, like, land on the ground again fast. This is also a good point to mention, since I mentioned the imp enemies. They're very annoying and luck-based, especially the jumping ones that you are going to see all over the place. Love to jump in very unpredictably fast and annoying to deal with patterns. With that being said, I've talked about the game a little bit. I'm going to talk about the run I'm doing in particular as I collect the first ivory bug. AVIB is not a very self-explanatory acronym. It stands for all vitality fragments, which there's one right here, ivory bugs, which I've already picked up one, and bosses, which this game has one optional boss. Basically, this game, despite being a Metroidvania, does not have a, like, in-game progression counter, with the exception of the map progression counter. So it's kind of on the community to come up with our own 100% style category, and this is what we have. So outside of, like, getting the collectibles, it's never, like, too different from any percent at the beginning, but it's gonna change a lot, especially when the game gets to its more open-ended portions, so I will take care to mention the big differences. Fortunately, I made it through that area without dying to the very last projectile, which is good, because dying is not good. And we have our first boss, Adea. Adea is pretty simple. She will move around a little bit, and then when she stops, she will do one of 3 attacks. These 3 attacks usually leave her pearl on her back exposed, which deals bonus damage if you hit it with the bow. Unfortunately, I got hit there, and you're noticing that I got hit once, and I decided to reset the boss fight. That's not, like, perfectionism setting in from, like, damageless attempts of the game. That's what you need to do. Basically, every boss in this game, with the exception of the final boss, who ends the game when you beat her, has a damageless item that you need to beat the boss completely perfectly in order to get. So, unfortunately, getting hit on that boss attempt there, I do have to reset and start it over. But fortunately, this boss isn't actually hard, so yeah, second try. Not bad.
Nice
and I get
job.
Adea's Pearl. So yeah, that's the item I needed from this fight to do damageless. And Adea's Pearl is very good. I mentioned that our arrows are going to see a lot more use as the game goes on. Adea's Pearl is like the main reason why. What Adea's Pearl does is that now our arrows, when I shoot them, will have a poison cloud on contact, which can poison things, which it just does like pretty good damage over time, and like it allows a lot of bosses to be a lot faster because every time you shoot them with an arrow, you're gonna poison them, and poison doesn't really like stack, but having like it resets the timer if you re-poison an enemy, and having poison on an entire fight, it really does add up. You're gonna see that with another boss here coming up soon. It's right down there, but I'm gonna go grab the safety save here because this is one of the more annoying bosses. You know that enemy in the first area of the game that I said was stupid, random, annoying, and any other bad word you can think? This boss mimics the exact same AI. Except instead of just jumping at you, they have a few varied attacks that they can go for whenever they start glowing. This one is probably the most annoying to deal with because I tend to want to stay away from him. There are like strategies where you can go for melee attacks on this guy, but I don't like to go for them because if he goes for like a notably big jump, it can mess you up. Once he stops jumping and shimmying on the ground like this, the floor is about to fall, and we're going to go into phase 2 of this fight against Lubella. This is where the fairy debuts. The fairy is a hidden mechanic. If I do the first half of the Konami code, it shows up and eventually starts firing lasers. I can only use it once per save point, so you're not going to see it again until like the next major boss, but it's pretty funny. And it helps a lot with damage here. Lubella can be very annoying. As you saw, she did what we call a dive, where she went under the stage and did an attack. I can't hit her for 12 seconds when she does that, and she can do up to 2 in this fight. Fortunately, she only did 1, and I got the boss first try, which is good, because as I mentioned, that boss can be very annoying, and you need to both do Mocha and Lubella damageless to get the damageless item there. So, like, Mocha being an annoying guy bouncing around actually does matter, because even though he doesn't share a health bar with Lubella, he's still considered part of that fight. The item I get from Lubella is the Bachman patch. If you're a fan of squares, this is probably going to be one of your favorite items. Yeah, I don't really know how else to say that. If you're a fan of squares, you're not disappointed. That is one of the best items in the game, and it's probably the most crucial in this run in particular. It's not even like the most damaging item in the game. We'll talk about that later. In fact, speaking of damaging items, I didn't mention, I got money in the first area. When I entered this city, I bought the Crystal Seed, which is a temporary, like, 50% damage increase. This game has, like, Dark Souls item structure, where you get all of them back at a save point, but you only have a fixed amount you can use before that. At least I think it's Dark Souls. But the Crystal Seed is really good for that. But the squares are useful for more than just, like, dealing good damage, even though their damage is really good. And I will get to that when it's relevant. I'll just say that much. For now, we're in the monastery, and I haven't really mentioned it yet, but this is kind of where the game splits up big time. We have to get 4 crest fragments in order to enter the final areas of the game, and we can get them in any order. The first one I'm going to go to is in the Cinder Chambers, which is a very tricky area with a bunch of traps. However, it's fairly easy to navigate when you know where you're going, so not much going on. Right. And then just down here is the save point. We're going to be going on to the next boss, which is probably the hardest part of the run, in my opinion, other than one other thing, which is, like, way later. This is the hardest part of early game, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the Arsonist. I'm going to start the fight. I'm going to use my patches, set up my fairy so that I can do the left-right input and activate them while running away, and then roll through the teleport, use my seed, and we're just going to start spamming arrows. So, essentially, the issue with this boss is they have a really weird array of attacks that culminates in them having a teleport move that they can do. That teleport move is very difficult to deal with, and they will, like, tend to love doing it if you stay very far away. I messed up. So the kind of big goal is she has this whip attack that she'll do, which she'll only do if you're very close to her, and it's like very easy to space around. However, it wouldn't be a marathon run if you messed up something very easy. So we got to start that fight over. So I basically ran through anything. If you have anything to say, well, I just do this again, go for it.
Absolutely. So just before the run, we got a $10 donation from Laura and Blue Karnstein saying, "Hello, Laurie, good luck." Sending our favorite bunny all our love from the Double Creature feature. And a $250 donation from Purple Spyro fan saying, "Abortion is healthcare." Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for the support there, as well as the subscription here inside Twitch. So everyone, let's continue showing the love and continue supporting the Midwest Access Coalition while we're tuning in to some awesome gaming from Laurie.
This should be good. I think I win. Yeah. Woo! You want her to kind of end the fight, A, with Kath, the knight who's helping us, near you, and B, as far to the right as possible, because that's the direction we need to go. I'm going to say no here because it skips a long cutscene. For beating Arsonist damageless, we get the Pocket Incensory, which is... I know I've been saying this about every damageless item, but I'm being serious when I say that every damageless item is incredibly important to this run. It adds a fire effect to all of our attacks. And we also grab the first Crest Fragment, which each Crest Fragment has its own special abilities. This one gives us this mid-air dash that I'm now going to be using constantly. It's just that good. So this... Ooh, I almost got hit by those spikes. Hopefully I can still make this cycle. I don't think I am. No. Alright. This room has a bunch of items in it, but this platform cycle exists, which can be kind of annoying. So I have to wait for it to go down to go get the key, and now I have to wait for it to go back up to leave the room. But the key is very important, because now that I'm done with the boss here, the boss is like at the bottom of this area, and now my goal is to get out, so I'm going to climb back up, and I'm going to be getting a lot of collectibles on my climb back up. So this is where a lot of running around comes in. But it all culminates in one of the biggest differences between the any percent route and this route that I will explain once we're in the next area, which is not far away at all. So just gotta dodge these spike balls. This is kind of one of the big like runs of the run. That's how phrasing works. Oh, I messed that up big time. It's okay. Basically, this is kind of one of the longest like sections I have to do with no save point that isn't a boss fight, but like I'm still at a risk of dying to running out of health, the normal way you die in a game. So hopefully I will not die. I don't think I will. I can play the area very like safe and slow and make it through, but I will also still try to go fast enough to satisfy the needs that were like people that are like, I need to see fast gameplay. Don't worry, I still got you.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. Yeah, that's what we're about. That enemy, you want to like hit them big because you want them to be in stun frames when you try and jump on that ledge, because they won't hurt you if they're in stun, which is good. You don't want them to hurt you. This enemy is very annoying, and so is this one. This one is... Oh, I'm gonna jump past him. Oh! Okay, I'm good. Don't worry, I'm fine. So this is why we have the patch. So on top of the patch doing really good damage, its hitbox just keeps going down a screen. So I use it when I enter this screen, and it opens this door that you're usually supposed to open by hitting a lever all the way down this elevator. You can see it right here. This is not the intended way to get into the Whiteleaf Memorial Park. However, it exists, and it's very useful in this route, because the intended way to get into the Whiteleaf Memorial Park is by going through another area and getting a specific key. However, that area has a collectible that we don't have access to yet, so this route kind of circumvents backtracking to that area that we would usually, like, need a different item to complete. This is the rematch with Lubella, and as you can see, the combination of the Pocket Incensory and the Bachman patch makes that fight a joke. She has a few options. She can do all of her normal attacks from the first fight, and she can laugh at you. So while you're, like, having to do, like, a few extra melee swipes, she can either laugh at you, which does nothing and is optimal, do an attack that you have to dodge, which doesn't really matter too much, but it can be scary if you mess it up, or dive under the stage and negate most of the damage, which is not fun. Thankfully, I'm a cat now, so life is better.
Oh.
Yeah, so she kind of turns you into a cat when she dies for the second time. But that's okay, because being a cat is actually awesome. Being a cat, you lose 3 things. You lose a significant portion of your damage output, the ability to use a ranged attack at all, and the ability to climb ladders. The upside is that the cat just has general faster movement speed compared to human form Tahoe, so for those that want to play the game Stray, here you go. Ooh, my computer is being saucy. Alright, we're good. But now what I'm doing is I'm kind of backtracking back all the way from here to the first area, picking up a bunch of collectibles that I either didn't have access to until I got the cat form, or did have access to, but it was slower to grab them because I'm going to rerun through that area in cat form. Which means I'm just kind of combined total doing like a couple minutes of backtracking. So if you got a donation or two, now's a good time to put it in. Maybe it might get read.
Right?
Maybe you're good at reading things, right?
I try my best, Laurie. I do try my best. No donations just yet. Okay, go on.
I was gonna say, I'm not the best at reading, so I appreciate all the work you put into it.
It's okay. I mean, we all try our hardest and are good at the things that we're good at, right?
Yeah, of course. Mine is just not literature.
No donations just as of yet, but definitely type out !donate if you are here in the chat. Once again, we're raising money for the Midwest Access Coalition, which is a practical abortion fund that's helping people traveling to, from, and within the Midwest US seeking access to a safe abortion. They assist with travel coordination and a whole bunch of different costs, and their work being more important now, more than ever. Please, please, please consider donating today. Type out !charity in the chat. Follow their Twitter account at Midwest Access, or visit their website at www.midwestaccesscoalition.org.
If I may suggest a donation you can put in. So earlier, somebody put in a very large donation towards the Necrodancer soundtrack for Vert, Jake Kaufman's soundtrack. And while that is a very good soundtrack, and it's my probably personal favorite, I would like to issue a little bit of a challenge about my other favorite soundtrack that's on that list. I want to see if y'all can make it real close between Vert and Family Jewels.
Ooh. That's right. So as you're making those donations, remember to put that towards an incentive. That incentive includes bid wars like these, and Family Jewels is trailing by $1 or $2. So please definitely go ahead and consider making that donation to cause that run to be super close and to raise money for such an awesome cause.
So here we're back to the very first area of the game for some backtracking. This is kind of where we were backtracking to. Under where the boss is, we have this entirely new area, which has a very important item. I feel like a lot of items are very important in this game, but this game is very short but sweet. You don't get too much stuff, but what you get is all very useful. So, yeah, that was not my finest moment. That room is kind of, that I died in, is kind of widely hated among certain community members. Shoutouts to my good friend 4Cat, who learned this game with me back in 2018, actually, and I think is currently one of the moderators of the entire series speedrunning community. Oh. So big shoutouts to her. Does not like this room, was very vocal about not liking that room to the point it kind of became a meme. And all it has is a vitality fragment. So you don't even do it in any %, which is like the more popular category. But this area also has a crest fragment, and it's one of the most important crest fragments in the game. Our reward for backtracking to the very beginning of the game is the ability to warp between save points. Unfortunately, we can't warp to every save point in the game, but each area has a designated, like, warp save point. So I'm going to actually warp from the Grove to the Grove, and it's going to warp me to the beginning of the Grove. And I'm going to go through, re-go through a little bit of the Grove, grabbing some collectibles. I couldn't before I had the cat form. Now that I do have the cat form, like that one in that tunnel is impossible to grab without cat. This one isn't, but like I said earlier, and kind of what I was doing in the city, since I'm coming back to this area with the cat form, and it's faster to move with cat form than with human form, I'm just going to grab them now rather than earlier, because it's faster to do so now. There's also this ivory bug all the way up here, which people have told me they've gotten in human form, and I don't believe them. But that's kind of the end of the backtrack, to an extent. This is technically backtracking, because I've been on these screens before, but we are pretty much at our next area of the game, which is the subterranean grave. It is in the water, so I hope you guys like water.
Ooh.
This is where the big route deviation is between any percent in this category. So funnily enough, this 100% category actually does not get a key item. That any percent does. So this area has the garden key in it, which gives you two things. One, it gives you the vanilla access point for the Whiteleaf Memorial Park, which I broke into with the Bachman patch. B, it gives you a connection point between Whiteleaf Memorial Park and the Forlorn Monastery, which is a very good warp point to have. However, we can't really use that in this category because there is one collectible right here in Subterranean Grave that requires cat form. And this one collectible means we cannot use any of the convenience that the garden key would usually give us. Again, even in any percent where you don't need to collect everything, it's faster to get that key because of how much it does, and we're not allowed to get it because of one tiny little bug.
Wow.
What a cool game. Jokes aside, I love this game to death. And the next game in the series, I think, is coming out either before the end of this year or early in the next one. So now's a great time to play this game if you haven't.
Very nice.
The rest of this area is not too much going on. There's like one health fragment in the wall. There it is.
Nice.
And then we're coming up to the boss soon. And as I've mentioned, I've been collecting more and more boss items. This boss is usually the first of the 4 branching bosses you fight in any percent. And like, they're already kind of a joke in any percent. This boss is like a double joke in this category. So I'm going to switch back to human.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, that's the biggest thing about being a cat, actually, that I didn't mention. You can't use items when you're a cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Checks out.
And now we're just going to sit here, and I'm going to shoot arrows. And eventually, the boss will have no health bar.
How it works.
Yeah. So, essentially, the biggest factor of this fight is that, A, the amount of damage that Pocket Incensory adds to your damage is just huge. And B, they have an attack where what you have to do is run up and melee stagger them. But Pocket Incensory actually is like a large enough attack that it can stagger with arrows. So you never need to approach that boss, you literally just spam arrows on the other side of the screen and they can't beat you. The third crest fragment we get from them gives us faster arrow charging, which actually matters a little bit. It means that instead of spamming arrows, any boss where I'm going to use arrows from now on, I'm going to charge them to level 1 before firing. So, like, very minor, but it is technically a damage increase overall. Other thing I need to do is go to this room. So, this is the most luck-based room in the game. It is entirely random. The colors of the cats in this room, whether they are sleeping, sitting, or walking, and how much they meow. This is called cat RNG, and there's no such thing as bad cat RNG.
What would you say is the best cat RNG that you've seen?
My philosophy is the more meows, the better.
That's a good one.
That's my main thing. That room had a lot of sleepy kitties.
Yeah.
That was a good one. But yeah, no, the person in there gives us a key, the monastery key, which allows us to go this way, which is a good way to go because there's a boss fight here. For those that have played this game before, I'm sorry in advance, but essentially, what this game allows you to do with all these damageless boss items kind of culminates in what is about to happen to Pardoner Fennel here. So I'm going to walk into the fight charging arrows with my sparse thread ready, which I got from Frida, shoot the arrows to stagger her, use the threads, roll back, use the patch, and if I did it right, she should be dead. I did it right.
Nice. Nicely done.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite parts of the run because it's just so funny. So now we have all 4 crest fragments, which means we can go into the last areas of this game. All I'll say is, I've been telling you what the area names are. I'm not going to try to pronounce this one. But this area is very tricky. Even with all the health upgrades we have at this point, the enemies here deal a lot of damage. All I'll say is imagine doing this in 90%. That was the first category I ran of this game.
Oh.
I think this category is overall easier, and I just have more fun with it, which is why I run it more. So I'm not really a competitor nowadays, so I don't care about leaderboards. I'll just do what's fun.
There you go.
But yeah, this area has a lot of collectibles. 3 of both the Vitality Fragments and Ivory Bugs, as well as what is, once again, an important item in the run, but for kind of a different reason. Not really for speed utility, but rather, I need it to beat the game.
Oh.
And I'll talk a little bit about that when its use case becomes relevant. But for now, the main thing is that I'm picking it up for later. Other than that, this area is pretty simple until the end. So if you have anything to say, this might be like your last chance before I'm talking again.
Last chance, last dance. All right. Well, the crowd has heeded your call. Beep Fizzle donating $20 that says, "Gotta protect your family jewels." That's right, folks. Go ahead and type out !donate in the chat or check out the panel below to bring up the Tiltify, put in a donation, map it to an incentive, and if you want to go and support this bid war for Crypto the Necrodancer, go ahead and put that towards family jewels.
Yeah, I'm issuing a challenge. You can also totally pivot on me and like pick your own favorite. It's so cool. It's like there's so many options. I think this is a good time to say, I'm gonna focus. This is next to Arsonist, who I fought like a while ago, probably the hardest thing in the game. So, I'm gonna use a bunch of things that I didn't properly explain. Sorry, I got them during Fennel. First is Tainted Missive. It's like Crystal Seed, but better. Second is Arrow Charges. So, Lupiar is very... I messed up. I'll explain the items I got from Fennel. How about that? I should run that down while I go back to where the boss is. I need to do this boss damage list too, funnily enough. It's almost like it's a theme. But essentially, the 2 items I got are the Tainted Missive, which is a 100% damage boost, as opposed to the Crystal Seed's 50. However, it takes a quarter of my max health when I use it. This can be rectified by just using it... Oh, I used my item. By just using it before the battle starts. That way I haven't taken damage during the fight, and I can still get the perfect item for doing so. The other thing is the extra arrow charge I have. From the crest piece I got from Fennel gives me an extra charge level to my arrow. And I want to use that against Magnolia when she spawns in after defeating Lupiar. So, I didn't really explain the fight while I was doing it. Lupiar is immune to arrows and also has a dodge roll like I do that makes her completely invulnerable. So that's why she's annoying. We have a giant setup to kill her, but then Magnolia just kind of stands there. So you just kind of use arrows. There's so much going on in this game. We're in the final area of the game now. This is Karst Castle, and it's It's tricky. It's not necessarily that bad. I'd say it's probably easier than a fair chunk of the game. The spikes do a lot of damage. Like, spikes are insta-kill in this game, and then a lot of the traps do a lot of damage, but I always have felt that the harder part of this run was the combat, like the bosses for me, rather than the movement, so I'm never too scared of it. There is some pretty cool skips here I'm going to do, though, so let me run this down. I am going to use the Bachman patch to hit a lever that activates a wall that I'm supposed to use as a shortcut. Like, once I get to that lever, I can go back to the save bell that's there. However, if I use the patch, I can hit the lever earlier than intended and skip that part of the castle. I can also skip the animation of watching the wall move by warping away, which I did. But while I'm warping away, I have some things to do. One, I'm going to use the sealed wind on this windmill. This is going to give me access to a little bit of special tea under the well that will turn my maple leaf, my melee weapon, into the fresh spring leaf. This is not only a damage upgrade to my melee attack, but also there was a little bit of flavor text that said, like, this leaf has the true power to overturn the curse. That leaf, and by necessarily needing it to get it, the sealed wind, are required for the game's good ending. According to the speedrun rules of this game, the bad ending does not count as technically achieving an ending, because you do not gain access to New Game Plus by getting the bad ending. So I need this melee attack upgrade to get the good ending. Hold on. What's my attack? Okay, I know what it is. It's this. Other thing I just did is I handed in the soft tissue, which I got right before the fight with Fennel, to Choir, Fennel's sister. This is going to allow us to go to this area under the monastery, and this is where the game's first and only optional boss comes into play. This is Choir. I'm going to start with a full arrow charge with Missive active into a sparse thread hit, or I need to do 2. It's kind of annoying whether you need to do 1 or 2. When she moves to the center, I'm going to hit her with the patches, and I'm probably... Okay. I don't need this boss's damageless item. I just kind of remembered that. I don't need it. I just need to beat her. She does a lot of things, but the point of that fight is mainly to beat it. To knock her to the middle of the stage by getting her to half health. I think I used my missive a little bit too early with the problem there, but we made it through the fight, and again, that's the only thing I need to do, so... we win on that front. And now we're going to go back to the castle. That's like every side thing in the game done. Every collectible I need from now until the end of the game is in the castle. So we're going to keep moving forward. I probably should have hit a save point. I'm going to go do that before I die. I might die anyways. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I might need to refight that boss.
Oh.
I sure do. All right.
Oh.
All right, me and my infinite genius. Maybe I will show this off better this time. Well, that happens. Sometimes you gotta live with it. So yeah. Full arrow charge, thread, 2 threads, because sometimes she doesn't. I don't know why she doesn't go to the middle sometimes, and sometimes she does, but she goes to the middle. I hit her with the patches. The patches hopefully hit. And then it's just arrow time. Did I equip... Oh my goodness, I never equipped heavy arrows. So hi. Remember when I said that boss item for beating Lupiar and Magnolia damageless was really important? I never equipped it. It adds a flat 25% damage increase to my arrows.
Oh.
It's kinda good. And I forgot to equip. That's maybe the last thing I ever expected to forget. Oh no, I'm falling down the ladder? Okay, it's fine. This is good. That's maybe the last thing I ever expected to forget in the speedrun of this game. There's your that's never happened before.
There we go. I was just about to say.
I'm gonna warp back to the castle, save the game, and now we're gonna go through the end of the castle. Everything I need at this point until the end of the game is in this castle, further along, so why not go further along? Smiling face. First stop is down here is a health fragment that I still have not picked up. I'm gonna pick it up. Ooh, funny. At this point, not including that health fragment I just picked up, because I just picked it up, I need 2 more health fragments and 1 more ivory bug. I'm going to be getting the 2 health fragments first because they show up sooner. The second one is down here. You're supposed to like do this puzzle where it's like, oh, you're not supposed to destroy all of these crumble blocks because you won't be able to make it back. I made it back.
True gamer.
Yeah, it's not hard with the movement I've been doing all run. But I actually am at low health, and there are a bunch of enemies in this room that deal a lot of that. So I'm gonna not get hit by them. There's a bomb. Okay. I didn't get hit by that either. Wow. And then this save bell right here is important. It is the next save bell I get after I hit that one is the one in front of the final boss. So everything from now until the final boss we're doing in one take, which is usually fine, but I don't know, apparently I have a track record today.
Oh no.
This mini boss is pretty easy. Famous last words. Basically, they clone themselves, and you have to find out the real one. However, there's this unintended quirk where the real one will fly closer to the ground than the fake one. So I can use that to know who she is before she even fires an attack, which is how you're supposed to tell who she is, and do a 1 cycle with Cane and Missive and Spark Spread. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, I'm good. At this point, it's all just about not dying, which there are 2 rooms left in the game, so hopefully I don't die in either of them. This elevator. Shout out to my very first marathon run of this game, which was also my very first marathon run I ever did in person, at an in-person event, where I died on the that elevator. I made it through the last enemy, so now it's time for the final boss. There's a very strict plan for this boss. Hopefully it doesn't go poorly. There's a little bit of luck that can affect it here, so hopefully I get good luck. I'm going to use the missive, charge arrows, do a melee combo, roll, and then do small charges. Hopefully she doesn't do a big attack. She's not. Okay. I'm going to wait for my big charge here for phase 2. Use it, use both my threads. That should end the phase after 1 more arrow charge. Okay, 1 more hit. And time is going to be coming up after this phase ends. And this phase is... there's no luck. So if I do something wrong, it's my own fault. If I don't do something wrong, the game is about to end. I'm going to wait for the screen to flash white, use my missive, count to 2 after using my missive, start using patches and fairy. After I use the second patch, I'm going to start charging an arrow combo while doing 3 melee combos, and then fire the arrows at the end of the combo, and they missed. Time. Yeah, so those big explosions actually have a hitbox that will block the arrows, and I was too far away and facing to the right, so the arrows didn't actually hit the queen, they hit the explosion, and I had to do a few extra melee combos. But it's fine, I'm not dead. In fact, the video game is over now.
Yep. Wow. GG's.
So yeah, there is a lot going on there, but I can just... you just have to beat the boss before they do the attacks. It's really that simple.
It's a really good strat, not gonna lie.
It works in a lot of situations. But yeah, that is the end of that game. Momodora, Reverie Under the Moonlight. I'm going to give a few shout-outs real quick. Namely, shout-outs to the community. Again, I started learning this game 4 years ago at this point, and that's a great bunch of people right there. So shout-outs to all of you who, from there, because this is a great game, and I love you all. I particularly want to give a shout-out, though, to Double, who has run for us before, and was supposed to run this game instead of me, and I was just supposed to be the backup run, but unfortunately, Double had to drop out, so I had to take his place for this game, which is very sad, because, again, he is a great guy. I would have loved to watch him do this run here. Double, if you're watching this, I love you, man. Yeah, just shout-outs to Double, really.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, no, Double is an awesome individual as well. So hope all is well, and looking forward to seeing you be able to showcase your talents in a future event. But Laurie, thank you so much for what felt like it was just in the blink of an eye for Momodora Reverie under the Moonlight. But speaking of blinks, there is literally another super fast game. We'll go ahead and get you set up for that, Laurie. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.